So I am going to show you today exactly how to put together your own workout program so that eventually you don't have to rely on anyone to make them for you. You can create your own. That way you can have confidence when you go into the gym or when you do your workouts and you know that you're doing a workout that actually works for your body. So then in the long term, you can see more results and you can keep those results that you get. So let's jump right in. So we're going to talk today about how to put together your own workout program. So basically you want to start. Step number one is deciding what your goal is. So for most people, we're just going to assume that you want to lose fat, tone up, and boost your metabolism. That's a very standard goal. Most people just have that. They want to look good, they want to feel good, and they want to be able to eat, well and not gain weight. So that's what the primary goal is. Now, once you have the goal, you need to decide what the focus is going to be as a result of that goal. So in this case, we need to focus on building muscle and building strength in order for our metabolism to speed up. Okay, building muscle and building strength is not only for men. If you're a woman and you decide to build muscle and build strength, you will build feminine muscle. You're not going to be bulky. You're going to build a nice, lean, toned look that is feminine. All right, so now after you've decided what your goal is and what your focus is going to be, now you have to decide where are you going to work out. Are you going to work out at home? Are you going to work out at the gym? So basically, we're just going to assume in this example that we are going to have access to a full gym like Gold's Gym, okay? Now, if you are a more advanced person and you're moving into the direction of programming your own workouts, but you are not going to the gym, you're going to stay at home, it's going to be very, very, very important for you to invest in probably some dumbbells, adjustable dumbbells, maybe a TRX, some home gym equipment that'll allow you to do a little bit more than just resistance bands. So just keep that in mind, okay? Now, after you've decided where you're going to work out, now you're going to decide how many days you can commit to going to the gym. So for this example, we're just going to assume you're a working woman, you're busy, and you can dedicate probably 2 days during the week to going to the gym and maybe 1 day on the weekend. Okay. But studies have actually shown that now 15 to 20 minutes per day, every single day of the week, is actually more effective at building muscle and toning up and losing body fat than 3 days for 1 hour at a time. So if you can commit to 15 to 20 minutes per day, every day of the week, to go working out just for a few minutes again each day, then it'll probably be more effective. But not everybody can get in the gym every single day. So if you can just commit 3 days, 1 hour at a time, that'll also be effective. All right, so now you've decided how many days you're going to commit to the gym. So now you need to organize your program. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 days. So my standard program is going to be between 12 and 15 weeks long. That's exactly how we do it here. And then that program that's 12 to 15 weeks is now going to be broken down into phases. Okay, and each phase is going to be between 3 and 4 weeks, and it's going to have a specific focus or a specific adaptation in mind. Okay, a strength phase, an endurance phase, a stability phase. Each phase will be focused around one central idea or one central topic. Okay. So this is how you want to organize those phases. The first phase should be focused on stability and control, and I call that the pre-phase because basically it's getting you ready for the next couple of phases. Okay, it's building the stability, it's building the control, it's allowing you to get familiar with the exercises. Okay. The next phase, phase 2, should also be about 3 weeks, and this is going to be focused on building strength. Okay, just getting strong. Now that you've become more stable, you're now controlled, you have a better range of motion, you have a better idea about what you're doing. Now you can actually focus on getting strong and using heavier weights now that you have more control over those weights. Okay. The third phase, which is again going to be about 3 weeks, is going to be focused on muscles and toning and connecting with that muscle. So now that you've built, strength, now your third phase is focusing on actually connecting with the muscle and getting more out of your central nervous system. Okay, this is where we're going to lean down, tone up a little bit. And then your last phase here is the endurance phase, which is 3 weeks long. So now we've been very strong. We have a good connection with our muscles. Now our fourth phase is going to focus on building the amount of time your muscles can work without getting tired, aka building up your muscular endurance or your stamina. All right, so we've broken down into phases. We've got 4 phases: a pre-phase, strength phase, toning phase, endurance phase. Each of those is about 3 weeks. Now, we need to decide what exercises or movements to put inside of each of those phases. Okay, so how we're going to do that is we're going to decide based on movement patterns. We're not going to choose exercises based on body parts. You do not want to go, okay, I'm going to do this exercise because it works my legs. I'm going to do this exercise because it works my butt. I'm going to do this exercise because it works my arms or my shoulders or my back or whatever. You want to use movement patterns. These patterns will address multiple body parts at one time instead of just picking out each individual one, okay? So the first movement pattern is a hinge pattern. This is something like a deadlift, a glute bridge, a good morning, a hip thrust, Romanian deadlift, kettlebell swing. All of these things are hinging back and forth, okay? So a hinge is like this. All right, you're here, you're hinging your hips backwards and forwards, okay? Pretty simple. Now the next one is a squat, pretty self-explanatory. So squat is like a barbell squat, a dumbbell squat, box squat, single leg squat, lunge variation, step ups, split squats, things of that nature. Then we move on to a push movement pattern. Okay, this is for the upper body. This is your arms and your chest and your shoulders, triceps, all that stuff pushing. And it can be either horizontal, like a push-up, a bench press, an incline press, or it can be vertical, like an overhead press, Arnold press, Z press, or a single arm variation of those. Okay. Same exact thing happens with the pull. It can be horizontal or vertical. Anytime you are pulling weight towards you, or you are pulling yourself towards something, like a cable row, a barbell row, single arm dumbbell row. Those are all horizontal pulls. And then a pull up, lateral pull down, or that's not a lateral pull down. It's just a lat pull down, or an upright row. Those are all vertical pulls as well. Okay. The fifth movement pattern I kind of added in here myself. This isn't necessarily like set in stone or textbook version, but a rotational movement pattern I like to always include because it's very important to be strong and stable when you are turning and twisting. These are things, exercises to work on. This is like a windmill, an oblique twist, or a Turkish get up. And then our last movement pattern is a core stability one. Okay, now when I say core stability, I don't just mean like sit-ups or leg lifts or something that's just working your ab muscles. Core stability is a lot more than that. This is about being able to support your spine, because that's what the job of your core is to support your spine and make sure it's stable. So these are exercises that put your spine in somewhat of, or not necessarily put your spine, but they require your core to be very, very strong and stable. And they do a lot to keep you healthy. So things like a single leg deadlift, a farmer's walk, suitcase carry, plank pull throughs, bear crawls, pow off press, etc. You can look all those up and see exactly what those are. But at the end of the day, though, you should treat all movements as a core exercise. No matter what exercise you're doing, whether it's a bicep curl or, it doesn't matter what it is, a deadlift, a squat, those are all core exercises. You should think about them and go, how can I build my core and how can I strengthen my core with this exercise every single time you do anything? Now, how you organize this in each phase is what you do is it's very easy. You pick one exercise from each of those movement patterns and you put it inside of the workout. So your workout should be about 6 exercises, maybe 7 if you've got like a special one you really want to focus on. But basically just choose one from each category and put it into a workout. And that's how you'll do it. Okay. And then again, you'll alternate between the vertical and horizontal components of the push and pull, which I'll show you in a second. All right. So now that we've got our phases figured out, we've got the exercises we want to use figured out. Now we have to decide the sets and reps that we're going to use for each phase. So phase 1, which is your pre-phase, which remember is your stability and your foundation, if you will. We're only going to use about 2 sets per movement pattern. So for each hinge, squat, push, pull, rotation, core, you're going to just do 1 exercise and you'll do 2 sets of that exercise for about 10 to 15 reps for each set. Okay. So the rest period is going to be about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And the intensity is low. You're not trying to really just, kick it into high gear here. You're really, again, focusing on stability, getting good at the movement. You're not really worried too much about getting super strong or burning a bunch of calories. That's not the goal here. The goal is just to get better at the movement and be stable inside of that movement. So 2 sets, 10 to 15 reps, 90 seconds, 2-minute rest. Phase 2 is a strength phase. So after you've become stable, now you're going into the strength phase, like I already said. So what we want to do here is bump up the amount of sets you're doing to between 4 and 5 for each movement pattern. But the reps are going to be low. They're only going to be about 2 to 6 reps for each movement, but the rest period is going to be long, 2 to 4 minutes of rest per set. Okay. The intensity here is moderate to high. The weight you're using should be heavy enough that you cannot do more than 5 or 6 reps correctly. If you can do 8, 9, 10 reps in a strength phase, you're not actually in a strength phase. It's a totally different phase. The weight should be heavy, and you should only be able to do a few reps correctly. That's how heavy the weight should be, okay? And then we move into phase 3, which is our toning phase, okay? We're going to drop the sets down a little bit to only about 3 or 4 sets for each movement. You really should stay around 3. If you're really advanced, maybe you can kick it up to 4, but in this phase, we want to stick to 3, maybe 4. About 8 to 12 reps for each movement pattern. 60 to 90 seconds of rest for each set. And the intensity here is moderate to high. You should be able to perform all the reps with good form, but you should not be able to do more than 12. If you can perform more than 12 reps with good form, you should increase the weight, or if that's not an option, slow down the rep until you can do only between 8 and 12 reps. And the reverse is true too. If you are doing it and you can only do like 6 or 7, then maybe you should lower the weight until you can do between 8 and 12. Okay, so it's all about manipulating the weight, manipulating the intensity so that you can follow these guidelines here. If you're having to rest for 3 minutes and to catch your breath, it's too intense. You need to lower the weight or something like that in order to be able to only rest for 60 to 90 seconds and be good to go. Okay. Phase 4 here is the endurance phase. Okay, so this is your last phase. You should drop the sets down to about 2 sets, then work your way up to 3. I wouldn't even touch 4. I'm going to change that. And just go 2 to 3 sets for each movement here, okay? And you're going to be doing high reps, 15 to 20 reps for each movement, and the rest period is going to be low because remember, we're working on stamina, working on endurance. You're going to be kind of tired during this one. You're going to be, this phase is likely going to challenge your stamina, so you should choose a weight that you can do 15 to 20 reps with. If in the very beginning, your strength phase, you're doing 5 reps of squats and you're using like 100 pounds, when you get to this phase, you should be using like 50 pounds, 40 or 50 pounds, because your reps are going to be so high. Do not try to keep the weight that you're using in the beginning and just take the reps all the way up. You have to manipulate the weight so that you can actually do the 15 to 20 reps. Plus, remember, you're only resting for a short period of time. So if you're using heavy weight, you're going to be absolutely tired. You're going to overtrain yourself. You're going to hurt yourself. So remember, drop the weight considerably so that you can do 15 to 20 reps with good form. And again, you'll have to dramatically decrease the weight to do that. So I'm going to give you a brief example of what this might look like. I'm only going to cover a pre-phase. I'm not going to do the entire program, but the first 3 weeks, this is what it might look like, okay? So for the pre-phase, remember, we're doing 3 days per week. This is a 3-week phase. So my first day and my third day of the week, I'm going to do the same workout. I'm going to do a dumbbell walking lunge. Remember, we're only doing 2 sets of around 10 reps. That's our squat movement pattern, is that lunge, okay? Then I'm going to do a glute bridge. Again, 2 sets of 10. That's my hinge. A dumbbell overhead press, 2 sets of 10. That's my vertical push. A cable row, 2 sets of 10. That's my horizontal pull. I'm going to do a cable chop, which is my rotation. And then I'm going to do a kettlebell farmer's carry, which is the core stability. Then on my second day, I'm going to do this workout. A dumbbell Romanian deadlift, which is my hinge, 2 sets of 10. A dumbbell side lunge, which is 2 sets of 10. That's my squat. A dumbbell bench press, flat, which is going to be my horizontal push. I'm going to do a pull-up, my assisted pull-up machine, 2 sets of 10, which is my vertical pull. Windmill, 2 sets of 10 each, which is my rotation. Side planks, I'm going to do 2 sets of 30 seconds each, which is my core stability. Okay, so again, you can see how on the first workout, I'm doing a vertical push. On the second workout, I'm doing a horizontal push. The first workout, I'm doing a horizontal pull. And the second workout, I'm doing a vertical pull. So that's how you would alternate between those, okay? And this is the exact same. You would basically do something very similar for your strength phase. However, you would go here and you would change this to 4 sets of 5 or 5 sets of 3 or something like that, okay? And then again, manipulating the weight, manipulating the exercises, and manipulating the sets and reps as you go into each phase, okay? Now, the next section I want to touch on is programming mobility alongside your main program. So every single program you do, we touched on you're doing the 3 foundational days. Well, you should also have between 1 and 2 days or 1 and 2 sessions at least of mobility that's completely dedicated to just mobility. And these links here are YouTube videos, very, very, very useful. They're all by the same company who's taught me a lot of what I know on their walkthrough mobility sessions on your hips, your ankles, your shoulders, your spine, and your neck, all making these very, very mobile parts of your body. Because if you're not mobile and you're tight and you're not flexible, going into these workouts is going to suck and you might get injured. So this will help prevent injury. It'll help keep you strong and limber. For each of these categories, hips, ankles, shoulders, spine, and neck, you want to perform about 2 to 3 mobility movements each category during your mobility sessions. So you'll do like 2 for your hips, 2 for your ankles, 2 for your shoulders, 2 for your spine, 2 for your neck. You can do it on a separate day or the same day, it doesn't matter. And remember what we talked about in our last module where we're doing mobility with intention, meaning we're not just stretching. This is not yoga. We are doing mobility. We're trying to connect with the joint, connect with the muscle. Okay. Now, after you have gone through the entire 12, 15 weeks, however long you've done it, okay, you're just going to repeat the cycle. So you're just going to design a new program following the exact same principles. Go back, go through a pre-phase, go through a strength phase, go through a toning phase, and go through an endurance phase, and change up the exercises some, okay? I hope this makes sense. This is probably one of the most in-depth programming sessions I've ever given. I hope it was really useful for you. But basically, it's very simple. Choose one of the movement patterns, put them into a phase, manipulate the weight, manipulate the reps and sets, and you'll be good to go. And then just repeat that. Okay? I hope this makes sense. Let me know if you need any other help, any more questions on this. If you want me to dive a little bit deeper into any of the subjects, I'm more than happy to do that. And then just go ahead and move on to the next module.